Hi, I'm Mark. Welcome back to Foothill Paint and Fabrication. Well, as you guys can see, we started putting the doors back on Ruby, but ran into a little bit of stumbling block. Actually, I was just fooling myself, thinking I could install the door and block it out back here. There's just too many variables on the front here. I do need the front fenders installed, everything lined up just like it's going to be when the car's done. And the only way to do that is to take the car off the rotisserie, put it back on the cart, mock up the front end and get the fenders up there and everything else. So that's what we're going to do today. But before we get to that, let's do a quick budget update. I did spend some money. I kind of lost track how much I spent, so let's check that out real quick, see where we're at, see how much we've spent so far on this project, and then we'll get to work on getting the car off the rotisserie and back on the cart. Okay, let's jump right into the budget. I asked my friend Cindy, she's very helpful with spreadsheets and stuff like that. She actually built this for me to update my spreadsheet because I didn't include an area for interior cost, interior parts. So I've moved some stuff around. Numbers all stayed the same except for everything we added. So you can see here in green that the power window motors here, $395.57. I got those from Summit. Power door locks, Amazon, $22.66. Chassis parts, I added coil over shocks for the rear and smooth body shocks for the front from Viking Performance. That was $1,357.09. And from CPP, I picked up rear tubular control arms for $531.05. Those, we got to get started on the chassis, so I'm picking up parts for that. Paint and supplies, I did add quite a bit. Napa, prep wipes, some more epoxy primer and hardener, some epoxy for the interior, seam sealer, sandpaper, body filler, dry guide coat. So we've kicked up to $1,600 on that real quick. Now engine parts, obviously we haven't touched the engine. Interior parts, here's some new purchases, and I did move some down out of the body parts area. So gas pedal alarm from Speedway was $30. Clutch brake pedal pads from WPGI was $31.31. And I picked up a steering column off of Amazon, and we'll see that later, not today, but another video. I couldn't bring myself to spend over $1,000 for I did a column, so I actually found one that basically looks the same from Amazon for $169.94. Other people were selling it for 3 times that price. So yeah, we've spent a little bit of money, not a tremendous amount, but we went from $10,000, 282 to $13,873.49. So we jumped up almost $3,600. So we're doing pretty good on cost. Obviously that number is kind of large and looking at the condition of Ruby right now, but it's all money well spent, and it's going to be worth it when we're all done. So let's get back out there and get that car on the cart and figure out how to get those fenders mounted. All right, that budget update wasn't too bad. It's pretty much what I expected, I guess. So I've done some work off camera. I went ahead and filled down inside the trunk rain channel area. You can see, I know I'm the only one that's ever going to notice it or appreciate it or see it, but I did that on both sides so it's nice and smooth, so when the trunk lid is open, it'll be just as smooth and shiny as the outside of the car. I went ahead and did the sail panel on the other side too. It needed more work than I thought it did. Once I started blocking it out, it was a lot, kind of uneven over there, so we've smoothed that out. And the rocker panels down here, right where the pinch weld is. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that pinch weld we trimmed off. It had all the spot welds on there, so I put some body filler on there and smoothed that out. Now the molding does come down and wrap around, but it doesn't cover it. So, hey, while I get it on the rotisserie, I'm going to do all the work I can get done. Now the car will come off the cart, go back on the rotisserie, and probably back on the cart, and back on the rotisserie. I don't know how many times. We'll just keep track as we go, but this is just all part of the process. So if you guys look out there, you can see the chassis still sitting where it's been sitting since I took the body off, and the cart's sitting next to it. So I think, let me clean up the shop here a bit, and I'm gonna get this cart jacked up in the air, and we'll roll that cart over here and see if we can't get that on there real quick. All right, let's get this thing shoved over and raised up in the air. got that done. I think I'm going to roll it out, clean the shop, roll it back in, and we'll figure out a spot for it, and then start bringing in the radiator support and figuring out how that's going to work. All right, that's a little better, a little cleaner, not a lot, but a little. Let's roll this back here. All right, I bought a brand new radiator support, so let me grab that, and then we're gonna figure out how to maybe weld something onto the cart, so this will kind of be all one piece. So let me grab that, and we'll start figuring this thing out. All right, we got the start of a plan going here. I got some 2x2 square tubing, kind of clamped it in the back to the cart, found a couple of 2x4s, clamped those to that. Nothing's right, nothing's the right height or distance or anything. And I did get the new radiator support out, but I don't want to mess with the brand new shiny one and bend it or anything. So I dug the old janky one out, so we're going to use that instead. And I don't know, I just got to cut these 2x4s down, try to get this thing to the right height, the right distance, and everything else. So give me a couple of minutes, I'll get a fender out here, and we'll kind of try to mock this up here a little bit and see if we can make this work. All right, guys, we're on plan B or C, I'm not sure. But yeah, I scrapped all the other ideas, way too complicated. So I have this old radiator support I don't care about. So what I did was I got this rack out, but I couldn't slide it on because the leg's in the way. So I just cut that in two down there. It's all bent up anyways. It's gonna go in the scrap pile when I'm all done. And we got that propped up there. So really all we have to do is kind of clamp that to that when we're done. So I think we're about ready to hang a fender. Let me put the camera down, see if we can get this thing kind of hung up on there and maybe get it all adjusted to its right height. And then we can see about getting some fine tuning done. All right, see where we're at here. Got some bolts laying up here. Just kind of get this thing to hang in the air so it doesn't fall. Then we'll start moving stuff around, trying to make it match. There we go. All right, see where we're at here. Well, fender needs to go up a lot in the front, but yeah, we're not that far off. I think I'm going to clamp that to that so it doesn't tip over on me, and we'll start getting it raised up, kind of figure the height out, and then we can move back over here. Okay guys, I got the cart pretty much the right height. It needs to be locked down to the body so it doesn't move. I'll probably put the other fender on, try to square this up, and I don't know, hook one of these square tubes to it with a clamp or weld it or something. But before I get to jump into all that, one of the viewers contacted me, emailed me about fender adjustment. He's having some trouble. I've gotten multiple emails. I try to help everybody. If you guys got a problem, email me. I'll do what I can through email, try to describe what I would do or whatever. But I just want to show you guys this right now. I've been doing cars for a long time, and I used to just think of fender adjustment as these bolts right here. But what you need to remember is everything affects it. I want you guys to watch this gap right here. All right, all I'm going to do is move this fender in and out right here. That's it. I'm not lifting up, I'm not lifting down, I'm just taking a twist out of it. Okay, so watch that real close as I move this fender, I don't know, maybe an inch over here at the bottom. You see that gap just change drastically right there. Now there is no inner fender well in here, there's no structure, no nothing. But if your fenders are twisted or your structure in the front where the fender attaches is pulled in a little bit, that's going to really affect you. You're going to fight it a lot more is basically what's going to happen. So if this was in like this and I get all this and then I try to push this back, things are going to change. So what you want to do is make sure you have everything attached that needs to be attached when you're doing your kind of fender fit up. Now I'm not going to put the inner fender welds in here. I know enough I can brace this up and make it work. But you guys just need to be aware of that. This little bit, 1 inch, is making that move 1/8 of an inch or better right there. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're adjusting your fenders or you're kind of mocking things up or trying to work on your car. Maybe not everything's bolted together. You kind of need to bolt everything together because it does affect it. This sheet metal, these fenders, when they twist a little bit, it changes the shape at the other end quite a bit. So just kind of keep that in mind. All right, let me get that other fender on, kind of get this going, and I'll bring you back once I got some progress to show you. All right, guys, I got the both doors on, adjusted really well. The fenders are on, and the longer I work on this thing, the more I realize this was a waste of time. It was a waste of my time. It's really a waste of your time, because I'm going to go ahead and post this almost like a cautionary tale, lesson learned here. Now, I've never done a car on a rotisserie before, and learning as I go on some of this stuff. I have helped someone that had a car on the rotisserie, but that was just some body work here and there a little bit. Nothing like what I'm doing here. So if you guys look, you guys haven't seen the car together, or kind of together in epoxy, but you look at that door gap right there. Look how nice that is. I'm really happy about that. The doors went on easy. The fenders went on easy without a fight after all that work we did. So all that paid off. But back here, it's not so good. And I really wanted to, you know, jump in and start fine-tuning this gap and deciding, am I going to do the quarter panel? Am I going to do the door? A little bit of both. But I just can't trust it until it's back on the chassis. And I think I'll be wasting more time and probably having to redo something. So yeah, I just screwed up here. I should have got the chassis started earlier, and that's what the car should be sitting on right now to do this kind of work. So we're going to go ahead and get the blocks out. I'm going to block this real quick, both sides, and we're going to see if it's horribly bad. But you know, it's just trying to jump the gun here a little bit. I think I was so anxious to get the rest of this back in some epoxy. You know, I kind of got going on this, and I thought I could do it, but yeah, the smart move is do the blocking and then just stop. Just stop right there, and we'll get the rest of this back in some epoxy. So let me grab some blocks. We'll get to that. I'll lick my wounds and see if we can't salvage a little bit of work out today. All right, I've got the door squeeze clamped shut, and there's a spacer back there. There is no spacers back down here. I do have brand new latches and strikers for it, but there's no nothing to back them up against to shut the door up against. So I'm not going to push too hard. Now these quarter panels do come down. They're bubbled out right here, and then they dive down towards this door edge right here. So it's not like we can block out some gigantic area and this is perfectly flat around here. This actually goes in and then flattens out and then goes across the door. So I've got some fresh 80 grit on the shorter Dura block. We're going to kind of work this area, and then we'll grab the bigger block and kind of go from what we did here and transition back to the back and see what it looks like. Ideally, I want to get this at least done. Even if we re-epoxy, I may hold it back here and just go that way, but let's see what we can get done here. And we can see already that we have some spots. I'll bring you in here at a different angle, but it's not touching right here. Of course, we got the low spot we knew we were going to have right there. Throughout here, it's not looking too bad. Right here, it dives down a little bit. So let me change the angle on the camera, and we'll do a little more sanding. So we can see it's starting to touch, you know, out here, but not down inside here. And that really means we need to kind of bump this door back out even more than it is right now. It's pretty good lined up at the top and bottom. And it looks really good along here with the straight edge, but I think it's still a little shy. So I'm going to go ahead and keep sanding. All right, it's not looking too terrible. We got a little low spot right here. That's not the end of the world. But you can tell that it's starting to sweeten up pretty good. I can feel the unevenness right here. Now this is the quarter panel we put on, so this could be some of the heat affected zone when I did. It had to be welded on twice because I screwed up, if you guys recall. But it's not. It just feels kind of lumpy there, not super bad, not like it's a big dip. So I think that's okay. Now this part right here where you can tell it's not touching at all, that's kind of a problem because I do know when these doors are put together, it tends to roll this down inside there. You'll look at a lot of older cars, and you see the panel is supposed to be flat, but at the last inch or so, it kind of creates kind of a radius, a really shallow radius where they bent it over, pinched it, and spot welded it. And that's just part of the deal, but we're gonna see if we can't take that out. But like I said earlier, I'm not comfortable doing that kind of work until I'm sure it's gonna be right, not just a little bit right, and then we go put it back on the chassis and I gotta finish it. So I'm not gonna worry about this door. I'm trying not to worry about it, but I think I wanna just keep blocking this a little bit more, see where we're at. I did put quite a bit of epoxy on here, so let me see if some of this is gonna sand out, and then we're gonna grab a bigger block and see how we look behind it. All right, I got some fresh 60 grit on here. I was using 80 grit on the short one. It doesn't really matter because it's such a small area, but I want to make sure I don't push too hard, so I put some 60 on here. Normally I would probably use 40, but I'm trying out this 60 and I'm kind of really liking it. All right, see a little bit of steel coming through here and there. Got a low spot right there, but not bad. A little low right here. These quarter panels, if you ever see a 67 GTO in the wild, look, they bubble out right here. They usually stick out right here, and they kind of pucker in right here and here. I kind of try to work that out when we were doing the, putting the quarter panel on and doing some of the sheet metal work. But I think we have some filling to do right here. But not bad. Could be worse. We got a crease right here. Other than that, I think we're looking pretty good. I'm gonna keep sanding on it. I'll bring you back. We'll take a good look at it. All right, got both sides roughly blocked out with that 60 grit, and it's not looking too bad here. We've got kind of a little shallow, little low spot there, little low spot in the body line. You know, probably another coat of epoxy would take that out. I'll probably skim coat this area and just block it out again. Same thing goes here and there. Just kind of, you know, get those kind of, help them out a little bit so the epoxy doesn't have to do so much, but not looking too terrible bad. So let's go look at the other side. All right, so this side, kind of similar to the other side. You know, got a little low spot right here. Body line, everything's coming in real nice. Sanded up here, that looks pretty good. Couple little things showing up. We've got like a crease thing going on right here. I can feel that one. When I was filling these in advance, I didn't see that one, but we've got another one right here, so it looks like it kind of went across there. But I'll get those scuffed up and filled, and you guys can see right here, that's that little dip right there, and I want that to be nice and smooth. I don't want to dip it in, so we'll scuff all that, get some filler on it, and block it out again with some 60 grit. Probably go over it with some 100, so when we spray the epoxy on here, it's not trying to fill super deep scratches. But yeah, it came out pretty good, and you know, really, you know, I try to think of a way to make sure this wasn't such a wasted day, and really it's not. We're gonna make some lemonade out of lemons, I guess, because we have both fenders now securely attached, so I can do some preliminary work on there. We can do some blocking, filling. There's some dents here and there, little tiny dingers, and patch panel over there, patch panel right there. So it'll kind of hang on to it while I do that work. But yeah, all that other work, yeah, still kicking myself, but it is what it is. All right, guys, that wraps up this video, such as it is. Kind of a failure, kind of bugging me right now. But I'll tell you what, the doors went on really nice. The fenders went on really nice. So it kind of, you know, makes me feel better. All that work we did when they were in bare steel and all that massaging and all that cutting and reshaping really is going to pay off later on. And we did get some blocking done, and it's not looking too bad. There is some work to be done here, and I just have to be patient. Get this thing back on the chassis, and that's, I got to focus on that 58 Impala. I got to spend some time on it, get the undercarriage, everything done, back on its wheels, and roll it out of the garage so we can roll my chassis in there and get to work on it. But yeah, not much of a good work day, but I learned a lot, that's for sure. Thanks for joining me here at Foothill Paint Fabrication. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Mash that bell and drop me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. We'll see you on the next one.